see, a lot of the wedding party are also praise band members. And so they've really enjoyed life together and continue to do so. And you guys, I knew I had lost my son when Jenny came up from downstairs and she said, they're downstairs singing show tunes with Evan playing the piano. I knew that things were bad. That's not the son I raised, okay? That's a new man. So I recovered from that. Have Jenny and I ever said that you're awfully young to be getting married? Like 2, 3, 4, 5 times we've said that? Yeah, well, of all the 19 and 21-year-olds I've ever met, I've never seen people prepare for marriage quite like you guys. You've listened to all Driscoll's messages on marriage. You've listened to my messages on marriage. You've read Keller's book on marriage. You've taken FPU, Financial Peace University, preparing for marriage. If marriage was a class, you'd get an A, okay? You guys are prepared. Pre-marriage, yeah. We'll find out if you get an A in marriage, but I'm quite impressed. And Lauren, first time I met you, you were a scared teenager, and I've been able to watch you grow into a lovely woman of God. Someone who, as the song just said, had really allowed God to embrace you and to grow you and mature you. It's been fantastic to watch that process. And that's a good thing, because you're marrying Evan Robie, and he is a Raider Nation Psycho fan. He is an anal engineer type, and he's also a golf course anger management nightmare. Okay, so you know who you're getting. Good. But I'll tell you something. I've never been more proud of 2 people, and Evan, I'm a huge fan, and you know that. You know that I am just all about you and for you, and can't believe that this day has finally come. You're taking your next step and really becoming that man of God that we talked about, and now you're going to lead a family, and that's pretty exciting for me. So, well done. I'd like to talk about Ephesians chapter 5, verses 25 through 33. It simply says, husbands, love your wives, just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her, to make her holy. Then skipping to verse 31, it says, for this reason a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. And quote from Genesis chapter 2. Then the Apostle Paul says, this is a profound mystery. And that's what I want to talk about today. But I'm talking about Christ and the church. However, each one of you also must love his wife as he loves himself, and the wife must respect her husband. So this profound mystery is the Apostle Paul talking both about Christ and the church, Christ being the husband to the church, the bridegroom, the church being the bride, and you two symbolizing or a metaphor for that union as husband and wife. And so I think it's important to point out that God is a promise-keeping God. He made covenants with the children of God, the church. He made covenants with Noah, with Abraham, with Moses, with David, and finally he made a covenant to the church. And the outstanding characteristic of God is that he's faithful to all his promises, to all these covenants. He always keeps his word, no matter if the people he commits to keep their word or not. And so we have a promise-keeping God. And the profound mystery focuses on that even though God has a rebellious bride, he remains faithful and is graceful and full of mercy. And I believe that this kind of promise made and promise kept leads to the ability to trust him. This is an outstanding characteristic of God, that we can trust him. And this is a building block to intimacy. And I think that has to do with profound mystery as well. Our tendency as sinners is to pull away from God, but because God is profound in his love for us, his never-ending love, he draws us to himself and causes us to reach out to him in love as well. So my instruction to you today is simple: to be promise makers and to be promise keepers. Understanding that this leads to profound mystery, profound intimacy that's found nowhere else. For every single one of us has the same fear. We fear being known, and we fear once being known that we might be rejected. Marriage provides an opportunity to be known and to be accepted and loved in a profound way. Just as God knows us and accepts and loves us in a profound way. So, promises made lead to promises kept, which leads to trust, which leads to the ability to be vulnerable, which leads to intimacy, and which now that leads to joy. So marriage provides a great opportunity for joy, and my prayer for you is that you'll experience this type of marriage joy. Finally, most people love according to attraction, and you're both very attractive people, physically, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, every yeah, you know that, and you've told me that many times. But it's normal and natural to be attracted to each other. And I'm challenging you to have a mature love, a love that goes beyond just attraction, a sacrificial love. And in this passage, we see that Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. He sacrificed having the best interests of the church at heart. And so the kind of love that we're talking about that best typifies great marriages is sacrificial love, having the best interest of the other at heart. And so this is the profound mystery, that you can give your life away to someone and it actually comes back to you in the form of joy. And so sacrifice for each other, have each other's best interests at heart, practice that mercy, practice that grace, that kind of forgiveness, and watch God fill you with joy. Are you ready to exchange your vows? All right, let's do this. Evan, before God and these witnesses, will you have this woman to be your wedded wife, to live together after God's ordinances in the holy estate of matrimony? Will you love her and comfort her in sickness and in health, forsaking all others, keeping yourself only unto her, as long as you both shall live? All right. Lauren, before God's witnesses, will you have this man to be your wedded husband, to live together after God's ordinances in the holy estate of matrimony? Will you love him, comfort him in sickness and in health, forsaking all others, keeping yourself only unto him, as long as you both shall live? All right. We have some wedding vows that you've written and are now going to say to each other.